If there's something you would have noticed in this channel, is that on this channel I've made it a point of duty of mine to ensure that your game in the kitchen changes. I mean, it goes from 0 to 100. I want to show you how I made this very nice pasta and peas. Okay, if you're ready, let's get started. So in a pot of boiling water, just pretty much add your pasta, which is the regular spaghetti that we all know. Okay, so when you add this, you want to ensure that everything enters the water before you cover it up. Usually pasta take a period of 3 to 5 to 7 minutes, I think, for it to get ready, but you can just keep checking it until you see that the pasta is properly cooked. Then you just strain it and set it aside. Okay, in the same saucepan, add your oil. For this particular recipe, I made use of olive oil. I mean, if you're old here, you will know that I usually make use of olive oil, but you can go ahead and use any vegetable oil of your choice. Okay, afterwards, I added my onions, my chopped up onions and garlic. Okay, I had to stir this all up together, of course, to allow it, release its own flavor. I still left it in the oil for a couple of minutes. Remember, you allow your oil to fry, your onions rather, to fry for a while before introducing any other thing, so that it can release its own flavor to the oil before you continue with your cooking. You want to fry these onions until it becomes translucent. At that point, you know it's time to add your pepper mix. Okay, then I poured in my pepper mix, which just consists of fresh tomatoes and shombo, which is, I don't know if that is a cayenne pepper or paprika, but the two, one of them. This one is the one called shombo, which is the slim long one. Okay, and the tomatoes, that's basically all I added. I didn't add any other pepper because that shombo usually is hot to an extent, so I usually don't add the regular pepper once I add it. Okay, so after I allowed it to get hot, I added my 2 seasoning cubes, pinch of salt. Remember, on this channel I barely cook with salt, or I cook with little because I want to go low on my sodium intake. But if you do not mind, please go ahead and add more. All right, I added my curry powder and my thyme. All right, and stir this all up together. Okay, remember, you have to do a lot of stirring, and take your time and ensure that everything incorporates together, so that some parts won't be tasting different from the other parts of the sauce. You get what I mean? So when you stir this all up together, it's time to introduce your protein. Okay, I have some leftover peppered turkey in my freezer, which I brought out and added to this. Okay, so I do not remember that we've not allowed the water in this to dry up yet, but because I want this turkey to properly defrost, that's why I added it at this point, so that by the time the water in the sauce is properly dried, the turkey would have been well defrosted. Okay, now I covered it up and allowed it to dry up the water. As you can see, at this point there is no more water in it. The essence of this process is to just ensure you don't have a slapping sauce, or your pasta don't end up becoming very slappy. So you want the water to dry up, that way you know that your tomatoes is properly cooked. Okay, now I added my pasta water, a little bit of it, just to loosen up the sauce. Okay, so when you add this, you want to stir it up so it can loosen up the sauce rather, and it won't get burnt. Okay, so after you've ensured that the sauce is properly loosened, it's time to introduce our red peas. Okay, now I would have to mention that this peas is already cooked, 90, even 95% cooked already, if not 100%, is already fully cooked. Okay, and I cooked this with onions and some seasoning cubes, so it's well seasoned already, hence the reason I didn't have to go overboard adding more seasoning to it. Now, when I introduce my peas, it's time to also introduce my pasta, which we already parboiled earlier on. Okay, now it's time for the work, which is stirring. You want to stir and stir and stir to ensure that everything incorporates together. I didn't want to clip out any part of this stirring because I want you to see how long it takes me for me to mix up all of this together, so that you know that it requires a lot of work for you to stir up. Now, after stirring it, you want to cover it and allow it to heat up for a while, and your pasta is ready. It's as quick as you see it, and it's very, very nice, very nutritious. Remember, if you notice, I always talk about eating very nutritious food, and this is a way to have a very nutritious food.